Hey Pearls, in today's video, I'm going to teach you guys, or kind of like take you a day in the life, walk through what our budget routine looks like. What does it look like, our routine as we do our bi-weekly budget updates, and also what it looks like as I'm paying our bills and making sure that everything's paid on time and that there's cash where it needs to be, and all of the craziness that goes along with making sure that the bills are paid and that there's cash in the bank. If you guys need help figuring out how to make a more cohesive, stress-free bill paying day go, then you're gonna wanna stick around. Welcome back, Pearls. I'm Brittany. This is Pennies into Pearls, where you guys can come every single week for motivation and inspiration, tips to help you create a better life for your family without stressing about money. If that's something that you desperately need in your life, which I'm guessing you do, then click that subscribe button. Okay, so let's just get started. The first thing that goes into our, what I call budget date. So a budget date, I'll leave a link in the description box to a video that goes more into detail of what exactly a budget date is. But in a nutshell, what it is it's just our like bi-weekly catch up on the budget, making sure that the budget's still online, things are on track, getting the budget set up for the next pay period, because we budget every pay period that hubby has. So he gets paid bi-weekly, and then I pay myself monthly from my business, Pennies into Pearls. So the first thing that we do is we make sure that it is on the calendar, and I actually just put into my phone a reoccurring event on just like in Google Calendars, where my calendar and hubby's calendars are synced. So when I put it in my calendar, it shows up on his, and I just put in, I think I just have it like under like budget date or something like that. Budget and bills, I think, and it just every 2 weeks, so it's on the calendar, and I know that is payday, and that is when I need to make sure that all of the bills that go along with that paycheck are paid and that the budget is updated, and hubby and I are making sure that we're on the same page. So number one is to plan the budget date. Now, the next thing that I do sounds silly, but trust me, if you think budgeting is stressful, then you need to make sure that you're including this step. Doing something like lighting a candle at my desk or wherever I happen to be working on our budget and our bills, it just helps like give a sense of calm. Everything's gonna be all right. Sometimes things are hard to figure out, and figuring out where we need to move the money, making sure that you're getting everything down on paper that needs to be paid for. It gets stressful, so light a candle, turn on music. I use Pandora, you could use Spotify, obviously, whatever. I usually choose our very calm, but yet like upbeat music. So a lot of times I do like a yoga Pandora station, or Michael Bublé sometimes if I want something a little more upbeat, or George Ezra is another one of my favorites. Okay, now as we dive into the computer and I'm actually looking through everything, I look at my last budget update, and like I mentioned before, we split our bills in by paycheck, so in half. Half of the bills are paid with the first paycheck of the month, and the second half of the bills are paid with the second paycheck of the month. You can see a link in the description box that will show you, walk you through exactly like how we set up our family's budget and all the real numbers that go into it. So the very first thing I do before I start thinking about the next pay period's numbers and the budget and things like that is I make sure and go through that all the bills that I paid last time actually cleared the bank. So you'll see in one column I have a check mark where I click off and make sure that I paid the bills, and then the second check mark column is to make sure that the bills have cleared. So I just want to really make sure, because I have had it happen before where I thought I paid a bill, but for some reason like I didn't click that final like confirm button and it never went through, and we don't want to get any late fees. Then the next thing I do is work on the budget for the upcoming pay period. So we do have a template budget that we just copy and paste into the next month's budget, but a budget is a living and breathing thing, and we don't have exactly the same expenses that we had last month, but we do have pretty much the base format of what needs to be paid every single month. So like the monthly bills, your mortgage, your rent, preschool, those like solid expenses that are there every single month, yes, those just get copy and pasted. But then what hubby and I do is I usually send him a little message that's like, do you have any expenses that you can think of that we're gonna need to cover in the next 2 weeks to a month, to try to be thinking forward. And so then we look through our calendar and see if there's any events like birthdays or holidays or any like school events, anything that we can think of that's gonna have an expense tied to it. We need to make sure that that is put into the appropriate budget, whether it's the upcoming pay period or maybe the next month or wherever it is down the line. We want to make sure that we can see it and plan for it ahead of time as far as possible. Another way that I make sure everything's in the budget that we need it to be is I have an ongoing list in my phone of things that we need. Now, most of these things we hold off and just use the miscellaneous expense cash category and that you'll see in my monthly grocery hauls. But there's larger expenses that we don't put into that. So things like windshield wipers, running shoes, bigger expenses that we are going to set money aside for. So I just have an ongoing list in my phone. When I'm doing these budget updates and paying the bills, I make sure to put those where they fit into the budget. After that, then it finally comes time, once I make sure that our income and expenses all align, that we're not overspending, then I just go ahead and schedule all the bills, whether they need to be paid right away, or a lot of times we are half a month to a month ahead of the bill's due date. So I'll just schedule it or just pay it immediately depending on the way the bills work. Sometimes the bills aren't quite available for payment yet. It's like, come on, let me just give you my money. I want to pay you money. So in this process of looking at the calendar and looking at my phone's expense list, I also make sure, usually hubby is not home. I usually do this when the kids are sleeping during nap time, or when on the days where everybody's at school in the morning. I'm usually working on this. I don't like to do it at night when my brain is tired. I don't like to do it during my work hours. So usually it works out where I'm working on this. I'm mainly responsible for like the numbers and paying the bills, but I'm constantly texting hubby and giving him updates like, okay, we did really good on this time, we overspent here, we need to think about bumping the budget here. And we do this all through text message. If you watch that video I do on budget dates, you'll see that like most of the time this is the way it is, but we try to do it monthly, but sometimes it doesn't always work out that way to be able to have like a face-to-face budget date, but most of the time we do it through text message because that's what works best for us. And the last thing I do, or like it's kind of in conjunction with the last step of paying the bills, is that we move money into savings. So this I just consider part of paying the bills. It's just like a regular thing that we do. This year we really haven't been great with saving tons of money for long-term things. We've been good at putting money into savings for like preschool or kids expenses, utilities. We've set money aside every single month to make sure that we have enough cash set aside for when we have those giant bills. Like refilling our propane tank in the wintertime is so expensive. Making sure that we have cash and savings for things like that. You'll see in our upcoming goals video that in 2020, we have some really exciting savings goals. And so we're currently working on plans for moving money around and making those a higher priority next year. And that's all part of these budget dates, that as we're thinking about things like that, we make sure to figure out how to actually implement them so it's a reality and not just a goal. So there you have it. That is our budget routine. Let me know what questions you guys have, and I would love to hear what your budget routine is. What does it look like as you're working through paying your bills and making sure that your budget is all balanced off and that everything's in there that you need it to? Let's chat down in the comments. Thanks you guys so much for watching. If you found this video, it motivated you, then give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It's gonna be so helpful for you in creating a better life for your family without stressing about money. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.